Hi INFJs. Today I'm going to share something really special with you. Today we're going to dive into 5 unique truths that I think all INFJs need to understand about themselves. These aren't just the same recycled insights that we have already seen all over the internet or wherever it is that we find our information. These are truths that will help you better understand who you are, but more importantly, embrace it. We need to learn to embrace these truths because these truths are what make us, make us our unique us, our amazing us. So this is what we're going to talk about today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name's Trina. I'm an INFJ and I'm also autistic. I created this channel with hopes of helping people like myself feel seen, heard, and understood. Plus, I wanted somewhere I could share resources. I find that there are limited resources out there for INFJs and autistic INFJs, and it used to frustrate me. So I decided to start my own. So don't forget to check the resources that I put in the description of this video. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad that you found it. I hope you find it helpful. If you're returning, I'm glad you came back. You guys, I am so grateful for my viewers. You are all so amazing. I just got my review from YouTube it's my anniversary of being on YouTube for 1 year, and it was amazing. You guys, I didn't expect this at all. So thank you so much. You are all just so amazing, and I'm so grateful for all of you. If you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I would really appreciate the support. Now, I also help INFJs and autistic INFJs heal self-love through coaching, community, and classes. Almost forgot what I was going to say there. Thanks to my autism, losing my words. All right, let's get into this, you guys. I think this will be a fun video because I think it's so important to learn about our uniqueness. We were given these things, these unique traits for a reason. We have them for a reason. And some of these that I picked out were things that actually caused me to really hate who I was. And I, for a number of years, until I was almost 40, absolutely despised who I was. So much so I couldn't look in a mirror. I know I've said that a million times, but it's true. So I think it's important to identify what's unique about us and understand it so that we can lean into it and be that person that we were always meant to be. So number 1, I have 5 of them. I was going to do 7, but then it was going to be way too long. I don't want to keep you guys that long. So today we're just going to do 5. I'll do another video where I'll share more because there are so many of them. Number 1, we have a push and pull between independence and connection. This is so fascinating. Have you ever felt like you wanted to connect so deeply with people, but at the same time, you also crave that independence so strong that it's like we push people away? I've done this. I have. I would get so buried in a meaningful relationship, and I was guilty of codependency as well, though. But still, I would bury myself in a relationship because when I get in a relationship, I give it my all. And then I would find that I would arrive at this place where I just really wanted to be left alone. I was feeling overwhelmed and I wanted my solitude, and it was just too much going on for me. So I would start pushing people away. And it was a horrible cycle, and that's exactly what it is. It's a cycle. We don't need to choose one or the other, even though sometimes that's exactly what it feels like, isn't it? We can have both, but the key is that we need to balance. We need to find balance. So when we find ourselves doing this, step back and ask yourself, what do I need right now? What is it that I need right now? And just give yourself a moment to really feel it, because your body's going to tell you what it is that you need. Do you need connection or do you need solitude? And lean into that, learning to listen to our inner voice, as long as it's that kind inner voice, that guidance, not the negative one. Learning to listen to that will help us honor both parts of us that we need, the connection and the solitude, because we need both, but it's a nice balance. Number 2, our intuition. Oh man, I love talking about INFJ intuition. That's why I created a course about it, because it's so fascinating. Intuition fascinates me, and it's a powerhouse. Our intuition, it feeds on subtle patterns that other people don't see. So when I say this, we can sense things before they happen, right? I don't know if you've seen over the internet, I've seen a lot of times that INFJs are referred to as like the psychics or something sort of magical like that, but it really has nothing to do with that. It's our intuition at play. We can see the patterns in everything. We see patterns in everything. We see patterns in people's tone of voice, in their body language. We see the patterns in events on how events are going to play out. And it's all stored in our subconscious, and we bring this back out. So have you ever been, I know for me, I've found myself in relationships, I would know before any words were spoken that the relationship was going to change because the energy of that entire relationship changed, and I could pick up on it right away, and I knew it was going to change. We need to learn to trust these patterns because they are very powerful. They are very powerful. So we need to learn to trust them. However, we also need to be able to recognize if it's fear or if it's clarity, because fear will also drive them, and we will mistake fear for intuition. Intuition is never fear. Just so you know, I mean, that's a whole can of worms. I'm not going to get into it, but your intuition is never fear. Intuition is just neutral. It's just that. It's the patterns. It's going to show you things. We attach the emotion to it. Number 3. I hope I can say this word. I'm struggling with this word. I was going to use a different one, but a different one just didn't fit. Number 3, we struggle with ambiguity. Ambiguity. I don't know. I can't say it. You know what I mean. Because we see too many possibilities. So INFJs, we're often labeled indecisive. And I used to struggle with decisions so bad to the point where I let it get to me so bad that when a decision would have to come up and I'd have to make a decision, I would get so much anxiety because I started doubting myself as I grew, and it got worse and worse, and it snowballed, and I'd get so much anxiety and I could not make a decision. My life depended on it. However, we are not indecisive. When we're in that state, I guess we kind of are, but in truth, we are not indecisive. We struggle because we can see so many possibilities. It's not indecision, it's creativity and overdrive. So every decision can feel like a domino effect that will lead to endless outcomes. Is that how it feels? That's how it felt for me. Every decision that would come up, it was like a domino effect, and I could see all these possibilities and these outcomes and the what ifs, and then I couldn't decide, and soon I didn't have to make the decision because it passed by and I was still stuck. But it's not indecisiveness, it's our creativity and overdrive. Instead of overanalyzing everything or the decision, one thing that works for me is, and I do this all the time, I ask myself, and I will like verbally ask myself. I just don't think this. I ask myself out loud because I need to say it out loud. What feels right at this moment? The right path, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to feel aligned with who you are right now. That's the key. It has to be aligned with who you are right now. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So drop the perfection, because we tend to do that as well. It just has to be aligned with who you are now. So ask yourself, what feels right now? What is it that I need right now? I talk to myself all the time that way because then I will get the answer. Number 4. We're on number 4. Yes, we're on number 4. This one I do a lot, or I used to, not as much because I know that it goes on. We are prone to mirror others and forget about ourselves. You've heard the term masking. We're great at masking, especially if you struggle with autism. We are like superheroes at masking. So we'll find that we blend in. I'm sure you've seen INFJs referred to as the chameleons because we can blend in really, really well. So we will take on other people's interests, their energy, even their language. And lots of times we don't even realize that we're doing it. I didn't know that I was doing it at all. This mirror effect, am I going to call it an effect? The mirroring, it's not really an effect, it's just who we are. This mirroring is what makes us so empathetic, but it also is what makes us great at connecting with others. So we do have to use it because it is a superpower of ours. However, there's a danger to it. when we do it all the time, and I did it all the time, 24/7 until I was just about 40, we lose who we are. So if you've ever felt that you're in an identity crisis, I've seen this lots where INFJs are like, I don't know who I am. I'm having an identity crisis. Step back and look at yourself and ask, am I mirroring? Am I masking a whole lot? Because chances are pretty good. So the next time that we find that we're doing this or we think we're doing this, just pause and ask yourself, is this really me? Does this feel like it's really who I am? This will help us reconnect to our true self so that we are not going to lose who we are, but yet we can still lean into that powerful gift of being able to connect deeply with people by mirroring them, because that's what people need. It's amazing, really. It's quite interesting. It's fascinating. I've done lots of research on that. It's so interesting. Number 5, oh, now the Basset Hound's here. You guys might hear her. She can be a bit demanding. The Basset Hound, Rosie. Okay, number 5. Hi, Rose. Our emotional depth. Oh, she's going to knock my light over now. Rose, you're kind of crazy. You've got chaos going on here. Do you guys want to see her? I'll show you her. You're going to have to excuse them. In here. Rose! Can you guys see her? There she is. There's Rose. Basset Hound. Sorry if I moved the camera too fast. My apologies. Okay, that's Rose the Basset Hound. You might hear her because she's demanding. Okay, number 5. Our emotional depth can be misunderstood as overthinking when people don't understand. So have you ever been told like, oh my gosh, you're overthinking this. You're thinking too deeply on this. Like, what are you doing? You're making this mountain out of a molehill, right? What people don't understand about us is that we are not just analyzing things, but we're also feeling it very deeply as well. Others don't. Some may. I'm not saying everybody in the world doesn't. Some may. I'm off the top of my head, I can't think of other personality types that do, but some may. So I'm not saying everybody. It's a gift. We find depth where others see simplicity. But it can make it very difficult when people are telling us, oh, well, you're overthinking everything, right? So what we need to remember is that it is a gift, and we do not have to justify how we're doing this at all. We revisit conversations because we're processing those emotions so very deeply, not just in the moment, but long afterwards. So what I mean by that is we're revisiting conversations, situations, memories, because we're trying to understand the meaning behind it. I will still do this all the time. I will replay conversations in my head that I had like 20 years ago, and I'm amazed I can even remember them. And from my perspective, I think that I remember them word for word. Is it a guarantee? We'll never know. It's in the past doesn't exist anymore, but I will still replay conversations or situations over and over and over in my head. And at first, well, for years, I didn't understand why I did this. I thought I was dwelling because in our family, that was a big thing, is you don't dwell. You don't dwell on anything. Dwelling is a weakness. So I used to beat myself up about replaying these situations and stuff in my head. But once I started learning about my personality type and who I was deep down, I learned that this is how we make meaning in our life. This is how we find meaning. This is how we make sense of things in our life. So we need to do it. That's why I say we do not have to justify doing it. So when people are saying to us, oh my gosh, you're overthinking it, you're making a mountain out of a molehill, you need to move on, you're like dwelling. It's not for them to decide. They're not understanding what's going on inside of our minds, inside of our bodies. They can't feel it like we do. We feel very deeply. We need to embrace our emotional depth because, like I said, that's how we create meaning in life. I hope these 5 traits were helpful. They're not always traits, truths, traits, same thing, I guess. They're not always easy to accept, but it's what makes us us. What makes you you. Sorry, Rosie's crying now. We have to understand them and we have to embrace them the more that we do this, the more we're going to feel aligned with who we are at the core at that moment, because we change, right? I'm curious though, if any of these really hit home with you. Let me know in the comments if any of these hit home with you, if you found that you have done them or you experienced them maybe even now. Drop it in the comments, or if you don't want to, feel free to send me an email. I love hearing from my viewers. It makes my heart happy when I hear from you guys. I put my email in the I put my email in the description of this video. If you scroll down, it says resources, and my email, which you will get me directly, is there. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it so much. And again, I invite you, if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel, like this video. Feel free to share it. The more times it's shared, the more INFJs we get to help, and that's what it's all about. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye for now.